Hello and welcome to another episode of Optics Trade Debates. My name is Andras.
Hello, my name is Theodor.
Today we're going to discuss the differences between two Pulsar thermal attachments for day rifle scopes, and that is between Krypton, this is a new device, FXG50, and between Core FXQ50.
Yeah.
So first, because these devices are quite different, we're not going to talk about similarities. We'll hit it off straight with the differences. Let's start with the body.
Maybe we can just condense the whole similarities in one sentence. They're both thermal clip-on devices.
And that's basically it.
So
okay, some minor similarities,
but everything else is different now on this new device because, honestly speaking, Core has been in production for really a lot of years. I would say, I didn't check, but 6 years or something like that. They did came out with upgrades. I know the first generation of Core had a sensor with 25 micron pixel pitch. It had a different sensor. Then the second generation had a 17 microns pitch. Then the third generation is this one, came out with a black and white image instead of black and green. So it's really a device which is for years on the market. Everybody was expecting what Pulsar will do with thermal clip-on in the next step. So now Krypton came out, especially because, honestly speaking, Core was the first, I would say, device in this segment, this market segment, that was really popular, and masses of people were using them. Because we know that thermal clip-on devices were already available years ago from other manufacturers, but they were really, really expensive. So Pulsar was a forerunner with a Core, and now when the Krypton came out, it was already like, okay, the Core is old, what will they show new? And if I start with the differences, I will start with the body. As you can see, Cores, they had a plastic body, which was much bigger than it is from Krypton. You can see it like this. It was also much heavier than Krypton. And the second thing was that Krypton just got the body from F455 or F155 before it. So completely the same body with a different lens set. This is made out of plastic, the rest is made out of magnesium. And basically the same buttons, the same focusing knob, which the focusing knob is on top now. It's easier because it's closer to the shooter than it was before on the Core, which was in front on this focusing ring, which was very, very stiff, like on this device. It's really, really stiff. So this was sometimes problematic to reach, while with Krypton is going to be easier on top, and it's much more fine and easy to turn. The controls are again on top, very similar. Even though I would say I think that one button got a different functionality. What changed was also the battery. So the battery on the Krypton is the same like on the F455, IPS7 and IPS14, and this is a big plus. The same interchangeable batteries, while with Core you got CR123A batteries, which you needed to change often, and there was always a hustle with batteries.
Now you can recharge them, right?
Yeah, and these batteries are not really expensive. It's like 80 euros or 90 euros for a battery. So it's always good to have 2 or 3 packed, and then you're ready to go. The Core also came with this adapter for the use of external power source. With Krypton, you just have an USB micro port below here, and you're able to put an external power source here. Even though with this IPS7 batteries, I think that not a lot of people will use external power sources, while with Core, at least our customers, majority of them were using external power sources because these batteries were just not, didn't last long enough. The lens in both devices is the same, 50 millimeters, even though it's not the same lens. It's the same material, germanium glass, but on the Krypton the lens is far more rounded and you get a better field of view. So you get a better field of view.
This is visible from afar, not so much, but if you look from up close,
you see that the lens is different.
It's much more curved on the Krypton.
What is also on the body, it is that Krypton has no additional possibility of mounting it except with a bayonet on the rifle scope, while Core has a lower mount here, which is identical to Trail and Apex. So you could potentially mount Core directly on the rifle on a Picatinny rail on this mounting surface. The Core also comes with a remote where you're able to control all the functions, while the Krypton has a Stream Vision app, so you're able to basically to see what's happening in the device and to remotely operate the device through the cell phone.
And this one already comes with oh, it's not. It's still a micro USB. I thought it was Type C.
It doesn't have a Type C.
Both micro
Last
USB.
but not least, difference in the body is the monocular. So with Core you get a 4-time magnification small monocular, which you need to remove the bayonet like this, and then you're able to use it with as a monocular, the whole device like this. With Krypton you get a different monocular, which can be used even through the clip-on adapter, I think. At least we have to get it still. So I would say these are the differences in body, but you can tell us a little bit more about the differences in sensor, because this is also one of the main
differences that Krypton brings along. So if we take a look at Core has a sensor resolution of 384 by 288, and it has a 17 micron pixel pitch. The new Krypton comes with a sensor resolution of 640 by 480, and it has a 12 micron pixel pitch.
A completely new generation.
Completely new generation of sensor.
Yeah.
And another important thing is the NETD. NETD, we mentioned it many times. This is the noise equivalent temperature differences, and it tells us how well the device can distinguish between extremely small temperature differences.
So how well you see the details. Yeah.
Basically. Mm-hmm. So on Core this is below 60 millikelvins, and on Krypton this is below 40 millikelvins. So this basically, you can see that mostly in adverse weather conditions such as rain, fog. This is when it comes
mostly
to
visible. Yeah, but
mostly visible.
Honestly speaking, when you look through the Krypton, the image is just wow.
Yeah, the image is out of this world.
Yeah, for now, you know, every next generation of thermal devices, there is a device which, when you look at it, you say, wow, can it get even better? Then in a couple of years it get better, but now in this moment in 2020, the Krypton image is just, it's crazy how good it is.
So the type of the sensor is vanadium oxide?
I think both of them are vanadium oxide. I'm not quite sure for the Krypton. Maybe I think it's vanadium oxide. I'm not sure. I will check it out and we will write it down in the description. I think it's not amorphous silicated. It's still the same type of sensor in both of them, even though much better normally in Krypton.
I know that that both devices come with AMOLED display, but the resolution is not the same.
Now, 960 by 720 in the Krypton. It's not such a big resolution, but honestly speaking, the image is still perfect. Here it's AMOLED display 640 to 480.
Exactly.
So a little bit smaller resolution, but even though the resolution was never a problem in these devices, both of them work due to the AMOLED display below -20 all the way to -25 without a problem. So even in really cold winter weather, you're still able to use them and be sure that they will work. Both of them are also rated for recoils all the way up to 375 Holland. So all normal European hunting calibers, even 9.3 by 64, 62, all of those calibers, 3006, 8 by 57 and so on, they will all work on them without a problem. So recoil is not problematic. They can also both of them can be zeroed first time. You just go and zero it if it happens that the point of impact is not completely in the center. So both of them enable you to zero, and then once you're done with zeroing, then it will hold the setting forever. Okay, so the display we set, what are the features?
Well, apart from everything that we've already mentioned, one of the really, really important step forward is that the new Krypton has stream vision capabilities. Yeah. This is basically their first thermal attachment with such capabilities, because on Core, you couldn't get any. All the core devices up to now, they didn't have stream vision.
You can see this on YouTube, because if you look at the YouTube, I think that there is really not a lot of videos with core. There are a couple of them, we have a couple of them, so check them out. But apart from that, there is really not a lot of videos, so it's hard to imagine how the image quality really is in core if you're not looking through it, because in the internet you don't get so many information. With Krypton this will drastically change, because I think that majority of all the people who will use them will upload their
So the YouTube will probably get flooded with all the Krypton videos and recordings.
Especially because the image quality is really great.
Yeah. So what basically this means is that it has Wi-Fi connectivity. You can capture images, record videos. You can connect it to a smartphone, as we said. You can stream the image that you see through here to your smartphone. You can update it without the need of a USB cable, because it has Wi-Fi capabilities. Again, many features, and only a €1,000 price difference. So for everything that you get on the new Krypton, so it's quite amazing. You also get 16 gigabytes of internal memory here.
Yeah, so that you're able to store all the videos and images. So if we go to the optical performance, we already mentioned so many times that the optical performance of Krypton is really great. But what it means in numbers. So the range of detection with core was around, still is 1,800 meters. The range of detection with Krypton is 2,100 meters. So at least 10% more of range, bigger range of detection, but the range of identification is much, much better with Krypton than it is with core. Because you're able to identify animals in really extreme distances. And when the animals come close, we watched it deer, I think at 100 meters, it's just like you're almost able to see all the details. It's just amazing how good it is. So the image quality is much better. Also the field of view is bigger and better on the Krypton than it is on core.
What is the maximum magnification that you would recommend for a day rifle scope that is paired with one of these devices? 8 times?
8 times, yeah. 8 times, but this is already a stretch. I would say 6, 7 is already the maximum, but it will still work at 8.
This is a question that we received often, right?
Yeah, and on the lower side, 2.5, 2,
this is probably
1.5.
optimal.
It's optimal.
Yeah.
I would say 4 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. This is the optimal range, but it will work all the way up to 8 times. Okay, what about the Bionics? This is also a big change.
Yeah, so if we look at them, you can see that it's a completely different solution.
Yeah.
And I would like you to perhaps elaborate a little bit on how everything is attached here.
Well, with core, we had this 2-pin adapter. Later with forward series, they added additional pins inside. So it was the same adapter, but with 4 pins. It worked really great. But honestly speaking, you were never able to achieve the same robustness, the same tightness, than with all those adapters which have screw thread on top of them. So now finally Pulsar went to this solution, because years ago when the first clip-on devices, the not thermal but night vision clip-on devices from Dedal were on our market, then everybody produced the adapters for them with a thread. It's a good reason for it, because it's really reliable, it's really tight fit, and you know what you get, and you can be completely sure about this solution. With these pin adapters, there were many aftermarket solutions that were solving the problems of, because sooner or later some error somewhere happened and then it was not as fixed anymore. Smart Clip has a really good solution for all the core users, which you bolt on the reducing ring, which has a thread on top of it, and it's
also not bulky,
fixed.
right?
No, it's not that bulky.
It's really elegant and thin.
Well, and this completely changed with the Krypton. So it has a thread, and it also has a completely new PSP adapter, which you're able to see moves in all directions. And because it moves in all directions, you're able to set the device, the display of the device, in complete center of your image, which is very positive. This doesn't affect point of impact in any way. You're not able to zero the device with this PSP adapter. You're just able to make sure that the image is in complete center. And then when you have it in complete center, you just lock these screws and it will stay there. I have to be honest, Pulsar and SmartClip and probably others also are already rushing with their solutions for this, because the PSP adapter is still using these plastical inserts, which a lot of people don't like. So I'm sure they will also come with the similar solutions on the market very, very soon. I already have seen prototypes and so on from both of these two manufacturers. So I'm sure that they will be out soon with their solutions. But this is the main difference. As far as I have heard, there will be a possibility also to use the optical monocular on Krypton. We're just waiting to get them, and we will do a separate review on them.
I have another question here that came to mind. If we look at core, there is no Picatinny rail on it. Here on the Krypton, there is a Picatinny rail. What is it for? So it's obviously not for the illuminator, because thermal doesn't use it. So is it for a power bank or something like that?
This is a good question for Pulsar, because honestly speaking, I have no idea why. Maybe as an external power bank, but honestly speaking, with IPS 7 and IPS 14 batteries, it doesn't make sense.
Because the F455 has a similar body and it has this, but it's much more...
Yeah, but it's hidden, under its own standard illuminator. Yeah. So no idea why they did it. They have a good reason for it, I'm sure, because Pulsar does nothing, I would say, without a reason. We will know in a couple of months. We'll write it down in comments when we know.
Yes.
Okay, the price difference.
Yeah, it's as I mentioned earlier, it's 1,000 euros. So we have the core at 3,150, and we have Krypton at 4,150. At least this applies to the
rounded
50
model.
Euros. Yeah, so for a 1,000 euro price, you get plenty of juice here on Krypton.
It's really funny because core devices, I think they started at 4,500 euros. The first generation, then the second generation was around 3,700, something like that. Now the third generation, the black and white, is 3,150.
That's the thing with Pulsar. They always lower the prices, right?
Every single next generation, it's a little bit less expensive. So basically, they started with Krypton already below the starting price of core, and I think for 4,150 euros it will sell like crazy because the image quality is just surreal. Also, the Stream Vision app is something what a lot of people missed on cores, and I'm sure that they will sell really, really well.
So the 38 version will follow?
I don't know.
Probably. It says here in the instruction manual. So
no, this is
for core. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm not sure that it will. I also, honestly speaking, I'm not a big fan of so many different models. If you look at iPhone at the start had one model. Pulsar has really a lot of models in all of their product ranges.
But I think they're narrowing it down slowly.
Slowly. So I presume and I hope that it's going to be only one device, the FXG50. And I'm sure that people will like it.
So both are made in Lithuania, right?
Yeah. Both are made in Lithuania. Both of them come with 3 years warranty. And there is also a really good service department in Pulsar, so even when the warranty runs out, if you have any kind of accidental damage to the device or something like that, they're still able to repair it. The last thing what we need to debate is why decide on any of this and when. I would say the FXG50 is definitely for all of those who just want to have the best.
Yeah,
and which need Stream Vision.
Which needs Stream Vision. It is a modern thing to have it, so many, I would say of the younger generation mostly go for Stream Vision capabilities.
Core, it's going to be for the older generation which like simple basic devices with not a lot of functions. Because even though Core was, in terms of manipulating the menus and so on, was not, I would say, the best Pulsar device, I still think that the first generation of Quantum had the best menu and the best button, the rotating button to choose all the options and so on. But still, all in all, it was really easy to use. You only had brightness and contrast, and that's it.
Yeah.
With Krypton, you have a lot of other functions which could pose I would say, a problem for some users which are not so technologically savvy. I
think that they need to keep it at a reasonable price difference so that they will still have buyers for Core.
Even now, for 3,150 euros, it's sold really well because it's really affordable and it's still a really good device. Normally with the Krypton, it's all about the image quality. It came back with a
And
really perfect
multimedia capabilities.
capabilities. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much for watching this review of this debate. You can leave a like, subscribe to YouTube channel. We will, as we said, we will leave in the comment when we know what this rail adapter is for. If you have any additional questions, you're free to pop them down in the comment section. We also have individual reviews available. Check them out.
Check our other videos out there.
And many videos on Pulsar devices. Thank you very much, and see you in the next debate. Bye.
Bye.